Welcome to Knit One, Heart Two. I'm Wendy, also known as Penny Wenny, and since my co-host Sheila, also known as Sheila D37, could not be here, I welcome Jean Luc Picard to the podcast again. For those of you who have watched before, Jean Luc has been my co-host in the past, and he's just going to sit here and quietly knit on my sock project while I talk to you about this week's episode. So, I'm not sure if we have any shout outs for donations this week because Sheila's in charge of knowing that. So if you did donate to our podcast this week, I'll thank you in advance and we'll thank you personally on the next episode that Sheila's here. Our knit along, it's a lace knit along, is continuing until the end of July. So if you haven't already put your finished lace projects in the thread in our group, please do so. I'm not really sure when prizes are going to be drawn. Sheila's schedule, she had to work late today, and because I'm flying out of town tomorrow morning, we couldn't work out a time when we could both record. I'm a little worried about if she's going to be able to draw prizes next week. So I'll post some information in the group about when the prize drawing for the lace competition will actually be done. It might be done when I get back from vacation, but the thread is going to close on August 1st. So if you have a lace project as defined in our rules in the contest, get it posted in the group by then so that you can be eligible for the drawing. I think we're going to draw at least 2 prizes. I need to look into that as well. So that's coming up. Let's see. I think that's all for shout outs and stuff off the top of my head at the beginning of the show. I think Sheila and I will talk about what the next knit along is going to be probably when I get back. So if you have any ideas for or you'd like to request a certain knit along, let me know in the thread for this episode on our group, and I will take those suggestions into account when we decide what we're going to do. Oh yes, we also were planning a book review for this week. Nikki Epstein's Knits for Dolls for the American Girl style doll. And since Sheila has the book and Sheila was going to give the review, that can't happen today. I haven't had a chance to look at the book myself and I don't have the copy with me. So she will either give that next week if she records alone, or we'll do the review when I get back, depending on what Sheila's work schedule is going to be like. And I feel bad. We've been kind of having crazy recording schedules. Summer is hard because we both have kids that we have to factor into our plans for recording. Things are going to be a lot easier when the kids go back to school. We'll be able to record in the mornings again without having a million kids around. And so it should get more normal in September anyway. So there's still hope. So that's all I have for shout outs at the beginning of the show. On the dance card. So as you saw last week, I'm actually going to start working on this so I can get it to a good situation. I have been knitting the Seashell shawl by, it's a pattern from Ivy Brambles, the yarn that is the primary yarn of the Yarn and Fiber Company in Derry, New Hampshire, which Sheila and I kind of consider our local yarn store. And so I've been working on that quite a bit since I last recorded. As you know, I had a lot of trouble with the first chart. It had several errors in it. For those of you who have this in your queue or might be interested in knitting the shawl, I have posted on my Ravelry page a list of all the corrections that I made to the first chart. The really great news is there are edging charts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 edging charts. None of those have any errors in them. So really the only error, and it's caused because one square was left out. So then everything got off by at least 1 stitch. That's once you get past the first chart and you know what the few minor errors are in it, it's really easy to follow along with the pattern. So don't be don't be deterred from trying to knit this if you are interested in it. It's really not a difficult pattern as long as you have the numbers correct for, because, the hardest part is when you start a new repeat of the seashell pattern, knowing where to start the tip of the seashell. And that's what had, the numbers were wonky on that, and I've corrected that on my project page. And once you get to the 4 shells across repeat, from there on it looks like everything on the body of the shawl is correct. So I encourage you to try it. It's gone very quickly for me, and I'll show you in just a second. I'm working on very close to the end. I'll pull it out in a second. It's gone very quickly for me. I really am enjoying knitting with this Blue Moon Fiber Arts silk thread too. The only issue that I've had is, and I've never had this happen with lace yarn before, I did a center pull ball, which I usually do, and I have yarn barf coming out and it's twisted, you can see, twisted around the thread that my working thread, if you will. And until I catch up to this yarn barf, I have to keep working the yarn barf around it like this, or it gets tangled. So that's been annoying. And I did have suggestions on Knit Night last week that I just go ahead and break the yarn and start working from the outside. And I guess I've been tempted to do that, but I don't know. I just don't want to have a break in the yarn. So I have been going along, pulling it out a little bit as I go and unwinding it from that yarn barf. I have heard people say that they don't like to knit lace weight yarn from a center pull ball. They feel like it gets tangled. Like I said, I've never had an issue with it. I don't know if it's just that this yarn is very slick because it's 100% silk. This is the first time I've had that problem. And I think that if I knit with this yarn a second time, if I did another shawl, I would probably just go ahead and knit it from the outside of the ball just to avoid this happening again. It was fine for probably the first 3 chart repeats, and then the yarn barf happened, and it's just been downhill from there. So take that into account if you are ever going to knit with silk thread. You might want to pull from the outside of the ball. And now I'm basically just saying anything in order to get to the end of the shawl. So maybe I'll just stop where I am. So I am on the eighth repeat of the body. I've gotten a lot done in the last week. The 8th repeat has 8 shell motifs across the top, and you can see I am about a third of the way through that shell, going upwards. And if I hold it up, you can kind of see the shells. I don't know if it helps to bring it. No, it really, well, they kind of look like they're in relief. When you block it out, I think the shells will become much more obvious. It's really pretty. I like it, and it's very, very soft. And I know that this doesn't look very big yet, although if you look, there's quite a bit of, it's hard to do this without I wish Jean Luc could hold this for me. It's going to block out a lot. Like, this is how it will probably look blocked. It's quite a bit of give to it. It's knit on a 5, which is a pretty big gauge needle for this fineness of yarn. So it ends up being a very big shawl. Also, the edging that you knit onto it is about this wide. So you have to add another, quite a bit of thickness from here outwards. And I'm enjoying it. Once I got past the snafus in that first chart, the Seashell chart, it's really been an easy knit. You just saw me knitting on it. I'm not actually working. I'm only looking at the edging chart at this point. You can see the edging chart just has the edges. It doesn't give the instructions for the Seashell. Because once you've worked the chart a couple of times, it's pretty easy to remember how to do the Seashell. It's a pretty simple stitch. They're all the same, so I'm enjoying it. I would recommend this. I don't think it's a difficult shawl as long as you have the corrections. I think it's knitting up really fast. I mean, I only have 2 more, this repeat, number 8 and number 9, and I'll be done with the body of the shawl. And then I'll show you on this picture, you can see there's quite an elaborate edging to be knitted on. So I imagine that will take me a considerable chunk of time. And you can see from the model in this picture that it's a big shawl. Once it's all blocked out, it gets really big. So I'm enjoying this. Despite my minor snafus with it, it's been enjoyable, and you know, I could recommend it. And people can follow along the instructions that I put in my notes on Ravelry if they want to find out the mods that I had to make to get it to work out. So that's coming along. The other thing that's on the needles, Jean Luc is holding it for me. I hoped he would knit a little bit, but he didn't really seem like he wanted to knit. He doesn't want to let go of the needle. I'm sorry. So this is my Mad Color. Is this Mad Color Weave? Now I can't. Aquaphobia socks that I have been working on in Into the World Pikoku sock. And I can't remember the name of the colorway, but it's really pretty. I'll put it in the show notes. I didn't look it up ahead of time. So I've gotten a little bit done on the back of the sock. You can see I've started to do the slip stitch patterning on the back of the leg. The side of the sock, it's kind of hard to see, has a garter ditch. You can kind of see it on the other side too. Garter ditch here, and a little cable, and that gives a little give to it because the part of the sock with the slip stitch is a sturdier, stiffer fabric. I love this. I've knit this Aquaphobia sock before. I love it with highly variegated yarns. I think it does something really pretty to the yarn. It's also a really hard wearing sock because of all the slip stitch, especially on the back of the leg here. So I enjoy it. And I did a short row heel, my new favorite heel, and they fit really well. The only thing is, you'll notice, because the slip stitch is on the top but not on the bottom, they curve. They're like elf shoes. But that usually evens out when you put them on your feet. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I'm probably going to bring this sock with me on my trip. I'm definitely bringing the shawl with me. And I'm hoping that by the time I record again, I'll be working on the lace edging. We'll see how much of that I get done. I'll probably bring this sock along with me too, and maybe finish that up if I get a chance. If I might need a break from knitting the lace, and this is a pretty simple knit. I'm going to give this back to you, Jean Luc, since you seem to be enjoying knitting it so much. There you go. So that's it for on the needles. Rate your date. I don't have any dates to rate. The only thing that I worked on this week was the shawl, and I didn't really have time to do anything else because my parents were here and my kids finally came back. So there hasn't been a lot of downtime for me since I last recorded. So that's, let's see, I don't even have show notes. I really should be more organized than this. Whirlwind Romance. As you know, Tour de Fleece is done, and I am going to draw a prize winner at the end of this show for the people that did our It's Not a Team in the group. And I thought I would just show you my final amount of fiber that was done during Tour de Fleece. I did 4.5 skeins of the Diabolical yarn in Flower Shop Inferno, and that went along with the other 4 skeins that I already had done. Oh, and I had a little mini skein too. So it's really 5.5 skeins. I forgot about the mini skein. And I'm keeping that in my giant infinite space bag because that is going to be knit into a sweater as soon as the weather gets cooler. Although it has been really cool lately, so maybe I'll start it sooner than I thought. And then I did 2 skeins of Into the World in the wood colorway from one of the club offerings. I actually have 3 bumps of this. This one I did as fractal, and this one I did splitting the braid in half and plying it together from the same ends. I still want to do another braid that I have by plying it with the opposite ends together to see how that looks. So you might see these pop up on the show again when I finally get that done. But like I said, the last week of Tour de Fleece with my family in town and the kids back, I really didn't have much time to do any spinning. And then I've been getting ready to go on our big trip, which I'm leaving for tomorrow. And for those of you with kids, you will know it is kind of like a military operation to get 2 children and 2 adults organized for a 10-day trip, 7-day trip, however long I'm going to be gone. A week. We're going to be gone a week. So that was I feel like I got a good amount done. I wish I had cracked more into the world, and I'm going to have to work on that. I'm going to try to set aside, I think, Tuesdays of every week for spinning and really just focus on trying to spin at least 1 day a week so that I can get some of my stash done. I have big plans for this yarn. When I get the 3rd skein done, I really want to knit it all into one big shawl so you can really see the difference between how this knit up. It's just kind of like a experimental idea that I had with my friend, and I like how different the skeins already look, but I'm really even more excited to see how they will change the different colors all knit together. So we'll see. I haven't decided what shawl I'm going to do for that. Maybe something more rectangular, like a stole, so you can really see how it knits up differently. But I don't know. But I have plenty of time to work on that because I don't even have the 3rd skein done. So for those of you who completed Tour de Fleece, congratulations. I really enjoyed it. I did 4 ounces less this year than I did last year, but that's mostly because I had less time this year because we were working on our house. So I feel like I got a good amount accomplished. I wish it was a little bit more, but I'm pretty happy. I'm really glad that I got my sweaters worth done because this is going to be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. So I really want to get that started soon. And at the end of the show, hang around. I'm going to draw for this Gail's Fiber Art braid for the person who posted in our group. So that'll be fun. So let's see. Future dates. My future date. I am going to do a few things on my future dates. I'm going to show them to you. I want to take some little projects with me on the trip because I don't know if I'm always going to be able to knit on this big project. And as you know, my sister-in-law is expecting her baby in September. So I am going to knit a bunch of little socks. And I picked out a few patterns. I'm going to bring just a bag of scrap sock yarn from my stash. I have a lot of it. This is called Cozy Little Toes. And that is by Judy Kaethler, Kaethler. That's one of the patterns that I picked out. Another one that I thought looked really cute. I've seen these as a couple of times. This is called Free Baby Mary Jane Booties, but I've seen Sartje's Booties, Saartje. I thought I might do 1 or 2 of those. There's this garter sock. I don't know if you can see this because it's on the pattern page. It's called Garter Stripe Baby Socks by Jennifer Hoel, Hoel. So I might do one of those. I love these by Frankie. Frankie's Knitted Stuff is the designer, and they're called Pippi Baby Booties. And I love how they're kind of stripy. Whoops. My bad iPad mojo. I love how they're kind of stripy. Look, I did it again. See, this is why Sheila needs to be. You're a terrible co-host, Jean Luc. All right. Aren't those sweet? I probably wouldn't do 2 colors because that would be too fiddly. But I just kind of like the way they look. I think I love that little garter stripe on it. And I think that's pretty much. Oh, there's another one. Let me show you. I didn't put it on here, but the blue steps. Let's see if I can find a picture of them. I made these for my other niece when she was born. I love them. They look like little LL Bean boots to me. I'll probably knit a blue step or 2. And these are just little projects. I'm going to bring a size 1 and a size 2 needle along with me and some scraps, like I say. And when I feel in the mood, I'll probably whip up 1 or 2 pairs of those little booties just to feel like I'm accomplishing something. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's pretty much all I have for future dates. Let's see. Baubles and Bling. I don't have any baubles and bling this week. The only things that we've bought this week at my house are for our trip. My kids and I got some travel pillows that you put around your neck. But other than that, it's been pretty, that's pretty much what we're focused on right now. So no baubles and bling to share this week. I did not check the P.O. box, so I don't know if anything came in the mail. If you sent something and you're wondering why I'm not showing it, it's because I didn't make it to the post office to check the box today. I'm a little slammed for time. So that's baubles and bling. Crushes and heartbreaks. You know, it seems like I had something to say as a crush and a heartbreak, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, I learned something this week. I've mentioned it before on the show that I have suffered from generalized anxiety disorder for probably my whole life. I was diagnosed officially back before my kids were born, and I take medication to maintain an anxiety-free life, and it works really well for me. But one of the things that really ramps up my anxiety is, what do you call it? Going to the dentist. I can't even talk about it. And I needed to have 2 fillings replaced. This is a heartbreak. It really is. You may not know this if you're young, but if you were old enough to have metal fillings, as you get older, they can actually work towards cracking your teeth. And if they do that, they need to be replaced with something that doesn't do that, which is, you know, a more attractive white filling. So in a way, it's kind of a plus. You get rid of those dark metal fillings and looks like you don't have any cavities when you open your mouth. So I already had one tooth that cracked from a filling that I had repaired a couple of years ago. And that one was actually bad enough that they needed to just put a crown over the tooth, so because the tooth was going to fall apart, and then I would have needed a root canal. But I had 2 more teeth when I went in recently that showed a little of the cracking from the fillings. So, and I have a new dentist. It took a lot for me to leave my old dentist, but because of their change in billing practices where they required us to pay for the entire procedure up front, and then we were responsible for billing our insurance company to get reimbursed. For those of you who have had a lot of dental work done, that's really expensive. We can't always afford to just give, you know, my crown was thousands of dollars. I could not have afforded or wanted to afford to pay that up front and then wait for the insurance company to reimburse me. So we changed to a practice that has more regular billing where I pay the estimated percentage and then they bill the insurance company, and if I have to pay any more, then they'll bill me. And that works great for me because, you know I have to pay what the contract with my insurance is, and I'm happy to do that. I would just prefer not to have to pay the insurance part first and wait for them to pay me my money back because the insurance company is slow at paying you your money back. So anyway, when I went into my new dentist, I'm very comfortable there. I've been to 2 visits, a cleaning and a regular dentist appointment. Actually 3, because I had the initial appointment, which was a cleaning and a dentist appointment, a cleaning, and then most recently I had another dentist appointment. I'm very comfortable there. I haven't needed to take my extra anxiety med. I take a tranquilizer when I get really anxious. So when I heard that they were going to, take out these 2 fillings and replace them, I was like, you know what, that's not really that bad. I'm not going to take my tranquilizer. I feel like I'm going to be comfortable enough. big mistake. It was just, you know what, I did myself a disservice. It's not like I panicked or freaked out, but I was so uncomfortable. 2 days after the procedure, my whole back hurts because I was so tense because I was scared the entire appointment. And I know that if I had taken my tranquilizer before I went in, I would have been so much more relaxed and I would not have been so miserable. So I guess on the bright side of it, I got through just fine. I know that I can get through having my teeth drilled and filled without flipping out. But on the downside, why did I put myself through that when I could have taken the tranquilizer and just been more relaxed? And the thing is, they did a really good job numbing my face up. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I posted a picture. My whole side of my face was drooping down like this. I can't even make it do it. This side of my face was drooping down. It was sad because there was so much Novocaine in the, actually it was this side of my face that was droopy because this is where I had it done. It was like this. It went back to normal, thank goodness. But when you are that tense and scared and you tighten up, it actually makes everything feel worse and you anticipate there being pain, and if there's even a tiny twinge, you just really overreact to it. And I know from past experiences where I've just taken the tranquilizer, and when I say a tranquilizer, it's like the lowest clinical level. It just calms you enough so that you're not like that. And in the past, when I'm more relaxed and more able to relax my muscles, it makes it a better experience. So, I learned, it's lesson learned. I'm okay to go into the dentist now without taking a tranquilizer. And that's a huge achievement for me because I used to have to take a tranquilizer even to go have a cleaning. And I've grown past that. I've managed my anxiety. I'm over that. I'm really proud of that. And I now know that I can go to an appointment, even for a filling, and survive it. But I think I've learned that it will be easier on me if I just take the medication. I guess I'm just not at the point where I can relax when they're running that drill. The sound of that drill is horrible. That's the other thing. They offered to let me wear my music in my ear, but I was afraid that I would be tense trying to listen. So I said, no, next time I am going to wear the music and I'm going to take my tranquilizer. And I just think that it will be a happier experience. And there's going to be a next time because I have 3 more metal fillings that are borderline. At this point, they're not bad enough for them to be required to be replaced. They're elective, which means that my insurance company will not cover them. And it's expensive. I think based on this last bill, it's about $400 a tooth. I'm going to wait on those. If they start to get worse, I'll reevaluate. I see the dentist every 6 months. They're keeping an eye on them. But I know that I'll probably have to go through another procedure, and this was just a good lesson learned. And so a shout out to my dentist, my new dentist, who's great for being, nice and understanding. I think dentists kind of know that people of my age and older have phobias about the dentist, because for those of you who are younger than me, until I was 18, I never had any kind of pain relief or Novocaine or anything in every filling that I got. So that's a kind of probably the basis for why I really hate going to the dentist. So that's my heartbreak. It's not really a crush. I guess it's a crush that I was strong enough to even try to do that. That would have been the first time since 2001 that I went to a dentist without medicating for a procedure like that. So that's pretty brave of me, but it was stupid, I have a lot longer to go before I'm really going to be comfortable for that kind of procedure. So that's my crush and heartbreak. And gossip and innuendo. Number 1 off the bat, I just want to remind everybody that Fiber Revival in Newburyport, Massachusetts is coming up on August 10th. I think it starts at 9 in the morning. If you've watched before, you'll know it's a really nice family event. There are several vendors that are going to be there who are terrific vendors, as well as friends of mine. Amy from Spunky Eclectic is definitely going to be there. Stitched by Jessie Lou Bags will be there. Enchanted Knoll with Josette will be there. Mad Color Fiber Arts with my friend Heather is going to be there. Yarn and Fiber Company, which is the pattern. That's where I got this pattern and where I get my favorite lace yarn. She's going to be there with her booth. Leslie Wind, who makes amazing shawl pin jewelry, is going to be there. And those are just the ones I know off the top of my head. I know there are more vendors. You can see the vendor list on the website, which is linked in the show notes. And I'm going to try to be there at least for the morning. I have to attend a baby shower in the afternoon. So that's number one. And number two, I'm going to do the drawing for this Gail's Fiber Art. I'm back, and we are going to draw for the prize in the Tour de Fleece thread. So I'm entering the number 114, which is the number of posts that we have. And I'm going to generate the random number is 11. Who is number 11? Number 11 is Molly O'Malley. And she spun 4 ounces of Falkland and got 200 yards of 2-ply. And that is her beautiful yarn. So Molly O'Malley, I will be sending you this beautiful Gail's Art bump in the Hydrangea colorway. It's Polworth silk, and it's something that I bought at Rhinebeck last year. But I know that I'm not going to spin it because it's Polworth silk. So Molly O'Malley, send me your information and I will send you your prize. Congratulations, and thank you for everybody who joined along in the Tour de Fleece thread. I've really enjoyed looking at all of the different outcomes you had and the different styles of yarn and the beautiful colors, and it's certainly given me a lot of inspiration for colorways and things that I'd like to spin. I love seeing all the Captain Tight Pants. That's one of my favorite colorways. So, and I've spun that quite a bit. So, Molly O'Malley, congratulations. PM me on Ravelry, and I'll get that out to you. But it won't be coming out until after I get back from California, just so we know. So, my friend Rachel, who is the proprietor of Dyeabolical Yarn, who also does scents and soap, has recently put out a pattern, and it is called Orange You Toasty. It is a hat, and you can see a picture of it here in her colorway, Tequila Sunrise. So she has graciously offered to give a pattern away for free, and it's a pretty good pattern. I worked with her on it a little bit. I did a little tech edit with her. And here's another view of the hat. It's gorgeous. I love this colorway of yarn too because it reminds me of Dunkin' Donuts, which is my favorite place to get iced tea. Dunkin' Donuts. So here's the contest idea that I had. I'm going to open a thread in our group. It's going to run for 1 week, and I'll check into it. Either I or Sheila will check into it and draw a prize. That'll be easy enough for her to do. What I want you to do in the thread is to tell me what colorway of Dyeabolical yarn you would use to knit this hat. That doesn't mean that you have to use Dyeabolical yarn, but I thought it would be fun for people to either search on Dyeabolical yarn in the on Ravelry, and I'll make a link for that, or to check out Rachel's shop and look at her different colorways. I think everyone knows that my colorway would be Atomic Flower Pot if I was going to knit this hat. But yeah, check it out. Make an entry in the thread, 1 entry per person, and next week we'll draw somebody to win a free prize. And you can thank Rachel of Dyeabolical Yarns for that. She was kind enough to offer it. And it's a really pretty slouchy hat. See, now I did my crazy. I can't show things without Sheila here. It's a really pretty slouchy hat, all over cables. It's knit in worsted weight. It's probably a pretty quick knit. I haven't actually knitted. I just did the tech edit for Rachel. And it looks super cozy, and it would be a great fall and winter hat, or something to give for a gift. So, and it takes about 186 yards of worsted weight yarn. So yeah, I'll put more information on that in the group, and I will link in the show notes as well for you to do the contest. Please join in and check out Rachel's other goods that she has for sale. As people know, I really love her stuff. So I was pleased that she asked me to do this tech edit for her. So I hope everyone has had cooler weather. There is a cooling trend coming through. We had a really bad heat wave last week. So I hope that wherever you are, you're keeping cool. If it's hot out, if it's winter for you, then you are so lucky. Have a great week and knit with heart. And I will see you the week after next. So have a good one. Bye.